Okay, so actually, before we do that, I wanted to go over something from yesterday. So the way to differentiate the static method, the class method, and property is this. So with your static method, it doesn't require an instance of the class. And the first argument of static is not self, like and you can't use self for the class like you can otherwise. But the class method is the first method, or the first argument is class, like we learned yesterday, and it actually has to use the CLS. Well, technically you don't need to use that word, but the first argument has to be that. So generally it's just if you're like creating an instance of the class or something. And finally, the property method, you're really only going to use that if you need a getter and setter. So like your getter, to keep it, private, like you would use your getter for when you just want to be able to retrieve information but not alter anything, and your setter to be able to alter things, right? To keep the data more private and not accessible. So like if you're working with other programmers that may not take the time to read your code or whatever, then they won't like screw something up. So that's just the difference between those three. We didn't cover the difference yesterday, so I wanted to go over that.
Wait, how did you get to that page? The better results pub.
You just found it. Hold on.
Okay.
Versus property. Let's try that. Yeah, here we go. Here, I'll post this in the chat.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Make sure this is the right one. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Brandon, really quick, I'm having a problem with the Sololearn. It's not letting me log in. Is anybody else having that same problem?
Is anybody having that issue?
It was giving me that problem earlier, but then it let me in all of a sudden.
Oh, that's so weird. Because yeah, it's not letting me log in.
Like still?
Yeah. I mean, it let me in earlier today, but it's not letting me log in now. So I could just this is all being recorded, so I'll just have to catch up.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Like, was it giving you any error? Here, can you do screen share so I can see what it says when it doesn't work?
Mm-hmm. One second.
And I didn't know this until I had kids. I was afraid that when I'm carrying my gun around in the chamber, which I certainly always do.
All right, right here.
It used to do that when somebody's tried to log in.
You think I've got too many logins or something?
Yeah, like they do that as like a security thing when like, because it started doing that to me when I was like logging into other people's accounts and stuff. So, do you have it open in multiple tabs or anything?
No,
Or have you like moved like locations or something recently?
I am in a different location. I'm actually logging in at my work
Okay.
versus at my home. Now, normally I log in at my home, but I was logged in earlier today.
Yeah, it could be that because you're doing it from a new location. Like I had that
It'll
issue.
be a different IP address.
Yeah, yeah. So I would just try logging in at home.
Yep, that's kind of what I figured.
Okay,
So yeah, this will be recorded and I'll go through the class with you guys, and then when I get home, I'll just kind of make up everything.
cool. Sounds good. All right.
Having a 1911 that has a safety, that has a grip safety, man, I don't mind it. And it's something that I'm considering. I want to get your feedback if you carry that.
There we go. Okay. So,
Here, I also think, like, what you're saying,
Jacob, would you mind reading?
just like saying, guys, I have 50 different pistols in that room.
A simple game.
You know, like,
Object orientation is very useful when managing different objects and their relations. That is especially useful when you are developing games with different characters and features. Let's look at an example project that shows how classes are used in game development. The game to be developed is an old-fashioned text-based adventure game. Below is the function handling input and simple parsing. The code above takes input from the user and tries to match the first word with the command in verb_dict. If a match is found, the corresponding function is called.
Okay. So I think I mentioned this when we were doing JavaScript, but I'll do the analogy again. So with like game development, classes are really useful. Hold on, I'm gonna mute everybody because I'm getting some background. Okay, it stopped. With game development, classes are really useful because, so let's say you have, okay, a basic, so one class that's like basic character. And remember, you can pass parent classes into child classes. So the first one would be like your basic character. Okay, so how many arms does it have? How much XP does it have? How much just stuff that like all the other things would have, right? But then like your next one, which you would pass in the basic character class. So here, hold on, let me like type it up so it makes more sense. Where's my test page? Okay. Okay, so we've got a class. Basic basic character, right? And we don't need to add anything because this is from the beginning, right? And so first we do our, initialize def init. Well, XP, health, and arms. How many arms they have? I don't know. I don't know, other stuff, right? And then you do your stuff, your self dot xp equals xp, so on and so forth, right? We don't really need to do the whole thing. But then with our, so now let's say we have another class of characters that are magic class. Sure. So this is magic characters, right? And they have different stuff too. So like their different characteristics would be like mana and I don't know, fire resistance, and stuff like that, right? But so here we would pass in the basic char because they have the attributes that a basic character has, but then they also have their the attributes that all magical characters have, right? And then we'd have another class called okay, of the magic characters, the wizards, right? And then we pass in the magic char because they have the attributes of the magic char, and that all automatically also gives them the attributes of a basic character. So as you can see, this is how classes can be really useful in game design, right? Because you're not going to want to have to define everything. Like you're not going to want to do one class for wizards and then have to do, okay, what's the wizard's arms, their XP, their health, their fire resistance, like you have this big old long list and you have to do that for every character and stuff, right? So it just makes game design a lot easier for using classes. Does that make sense to y'all? Any questions on that? Anything unclear about that?
Can you add multiple classes to one of those, like say like your class wizard,
Uh-huh.
and then you put in your mage character? Could you put like also, we'll throw something else in there like racial attributes, so dwarf, elf, human?
So like adding a comma there and adding something.
Exactly,
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because the dwarf attributes wouldn't be the same as the basic character attributes, correct?
Wait, say that again.
Your basic character attributes is your basic your platform for everything to be based off of. When you make like
Yeah.
if you make race
Well,
class,
I don't know.
human.
I'll just be perfectly honest. I've never tried to pass more than one class into a class, and I feel like you can't. I feel like I've heard that you can't, but I want to be certain on that and not give you wrong information. So hold on, let me Google it real quick. Can you pass multiple classes into a class? Multiple inheritance. Okay. So hold on. So it sounds like you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so instead of Christmas treeing out, you can branch out kind of like a regular family tree.
Yeah. So you can do, well, okay, this is what Stack Overflow says. But they're usually right. So let's actually screw it, let's try it. I don't know where I heard you couldn't, but okay, so let's just finish this out real quick. Arms equals arms of that. And equals.
Yeah, because your racial class would be connected to the basic character thing, but it wouldn't necessarily be connected to the magic class. So that's where the division would be. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hold on. Let's fire this. Okay, so now we need to give this guy something. Down. So, I don't know. Wand level. Yes, I'm clearly a nerd, but self dot level equals level. Okay. Okay, so now let's try your racial class. So class race. And let's just say that's a straight up class. Unit. So, I don't know. Origin.
Hey, Brandon, I just got back. Are we doing typing this information in our
No, we're just trying something out real quick. We're verifying that you can pass multiple classes in, and as of right now, we're thinking you can, but we'll see.
Okay. And as well as does that video game really work? The one that's in the Python?
Yeah, I mean it's not a very good game, but yeah. Uh,
I would like to make that work in my virtualizer. Can I use that and you can help me out install it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's see how this works. Okay, so all right, so in our test, let's do test one. Maybe that won't be so crazy. I think I'm still testing that out. All right, let's get rid of this. I think I finished that. Okay, so and create an instance of wizard. But I'm trying to think how that's how you end up passing. Okay.
Well, for
The
the
wiz equals wizards, and then I'm passing. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the way I do it would be one level then all these, then race. Yeah. Oh, it's actually telling me. Cool. Okay. So one level, we'll say 1. And then for everything else, and then I go to mana, we'll say 1. Resistance 1. XP, you know, we'll just go 1, everything. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8. Okay. Now, if we do the origin equals Wiz dot origin.
Oh, you forgot an I in origin.
Oh. Well, that's how I spelled it here, so it can, if it's, as long as it's wrong everywhere, that's all that matters. Okay. And then print the origin. Crap, I'm gonna get all kinds of errors from what I was working on. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Dang. Sorry, it's gonna take a second, y'all. You know what? I'm gonna do it the fast way. I'm just gonna delete this and do it later. Or repaste it later.
Hey, Brent, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
A def is an argument, or is it a function?
Function.
Okay.
It's the same thing as function in JavaScript.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay, cool. So two x2, and we're good. Okay. So it's not letting me do it that way.
Isn't the one that we learned in Python a variable? Oh, but it is a function. A variable and a function is the same thing?
No, variables are just like somewhere where you're storing stuff. Why is it only, why is it not? Test it. I think I'm going to string this because I think it's going to get a none type object. Mine test 2, yeah. Oh, it needs to be. So wizards is not letting me pass everything in. It's only letting me. Yeah, and it's saying it has no attribute origin. So they say you could do that, but then if I got rid of that ended. You know, I should just play. I don't know why I'm wasting all y'all's time. I should just do this later. And then give you a better answer. But hold on.
It's all a learning experience, so, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not letting me pass it that way either. And it's supposed to inherit the attributes. Oh, that's because I needed to create an instance of. No, I don't know. I'll play around with it later. So anyway, good question, Jacob. Sounds like the answer is yes, but I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. So going on. Oh, go ahead, answer the next question. What does the split method called on the input do? Divides the input into separate words. So right here, wait. Yeah. It's dividing things into separate words. So Mike, can you read this one?
Yes, a simple game. The next step is to use classes to represent game objects. We created a goblin class, which inherits from the game objects class. We also created a new function, examine, which returns the object's description. Now we can add a new examine verb to our dictionary and try it out. Combine this code with the one in our previous example and run the program. Combine this code with one in our previous example and run the program.
It's weird they duplicated themselves. All right, go ahead, answer the next question. Why does goblin inherit from game object? Goblin is a kind of game object. So let's go back and look at that. So like we were doing before, where we're passing in the different classes. So it inherits from game object because we're passing in game object right here. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. Adam, would you mind reading this one?
Sure. A simple game. This code adds more detail to the goblin class that allows you to fight goblins. Can you move the screen up?
Yeah.
This was just a simple sample. You could create different classes, elves, orcs, humans, fight them and make them fight each other and so on.
All right, so let's go ahead and kind of look at what this does, right? So it's got setting up our goblin, right? And it's got the name, how much health it has, and a description here, right? And then down here, so if the health, it's just saying what to do with the health. If the health is greater than or equal to 3, then return the description. If health is a 2, then it's going to say what the it's going to say that. Then it gets lower, it's going to say okay, the arm's cut off. If it's at 0, then it's like explaining that it's dead, and it's telling like how to use the the hit if somebody calls that there's a hit or whatever. So it just later copy all this, we're not gonna go over it too much, but later copy all this, put it in your Visual Studio, and then play around with it. And if you have any questions, then let me know. All right, go ahead and answer the last question. Why was the desk turned into a property so it could dynamically create when accessed? All right. So go ahead and answer the first question on the quiz. Okay, how is a property created? Using the property decorator. Go ahead, answer the next one. What is the difference between a class method and a static method? Class methods are passed. The calling class static methods aren't. Oh, answer the next one. What are the usual parameter names for calling an instance and calling a class, self, and CLS? Answer the next one. What method is called just before an object is initiated? The init. And do the next one. Fill in the blanks to make the egg attribute strongly private and access it from outside the class. So the strong private is, the underscore underscore, and to access it outside the class, the instance, and then underscore saying, hey, get the private stuff, and then by its name, underscore underscore. So there's no real way to fully make things private, but you can say, hey, this should probably be private. Go ahead and answer the next one. And we get to see you can definitely make things private and you can't do anything about it. But what is an automatic process by which unnecessary objects are deleted to free memory? Garbage collection. And answer, I think, the last one. Fill in the blanks to make a setter for the property name. So the property, and then you do, the whatever you name it here, and then to create a setter for it, you just reference whatever you've named the property. you've when you did the def, and so name dot setter, and then for here, self underscore name equals value. That way, when you pass in this value, it's gonna update the private method name, or weak private method name. Okay, so go ahead and start this and raise your hand once you're done. So I'll give you all a hint with this one. If you don't need to use that string method, you can just delete that string method out of there altogether and just add the add method. And if you don't remember how to do the add method, you can go look back on Sololearn to see the add method. Or actually, I'll even make it easier. I'll paste an example of the add method in there. And with this example, you're going to have to tweak it. You don't actually need to use you don't need to call the class in it. You can just call the add method, and like where it says the 2D vector, you don't actually need that part because you're not creating an instance of itself. You're just returning the right thing. Hope that helps. Okay, seems like a lot of you are done now. So, Brian, would you mind sharing your answer? Brian A, would you mind doing, there you go. Hey, you use the dot format, that's good. Okay, would you mind unmuting and explaining your answer?
Well, I just kind of tinkered with it, really.
Uh-huh.
Just I pretty much copied the top and I made my way down, and I added the and. I mean, that's really nothing to it, because what it's going to do, it's going to print out the orange and the apple, so it's going to be orange and apple, and it's going to add the 1.5 and 2.0 together. And in order to do that, I mean, I don't know how to explain this one. I really don't.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and do screen share and show mine. I think mine is a little more straightforward. I mean, yours works, is good. Mine, like I said, I eliminated the string method. So the string method they didn't even cover, but the string method's just a way of turning your stuff from a string to be able to write it as a string and it comes out. But anyway, so what I did, I got rid of that and then just added just the add method and then just had it just return. So remember with the add method, what it does is, so the first one's going to be self, right? The whatever's in the A, and the second result is going to be whatever is in the B, right? And we've already got instances of A and B, so we don't need in here to create new instances or anything, right? So since we've got those instances, we just do, self.name, and that's going to get the first name. And then, so I probably should have done dot format. That would have been more clear. That's why we have dot format, but I just did it this way. I just added the plus sign. But anyway, so then add the and then the other dot name. So remember, so now we're so by doing that dot add method, it's just saying anytime you add this plus right here, handle it this way, right? And it knows that the other one's going to be the second instance. The other is going to be the second instance. And then it's just a matter of adding the rest of the stuff, the parentheses, and then adding the two amounts together, both the self dot capacity and the other dot capacity, and then the liters and the thing at the end. Any questions on that? Anybody? Did anybody else do it a different way than me or Brian?
Yes.
Okay, Tim. Well, first, before we do any questions on this, does this make sense to y'all? I think this way is pretty straightforward. But any questions?
I was able to finish it with the string method before you had given that tidbit, but I went back and tried to play around by removing the string method, and I couldn't get it to work without it, but I'm assuming I'm just missing something.
You want to do screen share and I can see what's going on? And then I'll get to you, Tim. Haven't
No
forgotten.
problem. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Because then it's doing all the stuff. So like right there on like 10, it's just creating the the adding the old one or the first one, the first instance A and the second one B, and then the second one's just adding the capacities and passing in name and capacities, and then it knows when by leaving the string method right there, it knows that okay, if we're called, if we're called upon to print something, then give the name and capacity, and you passed in already that you create a new instance in result that has the combination of the two. So yeah, that's good. But what were you doing when you were trying to do it without the string method?
Hey, you're on mute.
Oh, yeah, you're muted, Mike.
Sorry, I've been talking for a few minutes. That's awesome. So when you told us we could remove the string method, I already had this add method created and the code worked. And I thought, okay, well, let me try and do it without it. And so I removed the string method and the code wouldn't run properly, but I don't see in looking at it how the string method is being incorporated into this code.
Right. So what the string method's doing is it's saying like, okay, when you want to print, so watch, do this. Do print A, change it from result, or okay, actually copy all this and hit continue. And now hit continue until we get to a try it yourself.
Which of the following tasks cannot be performed using?
Here, I'll just tell you by looking. Let me see. Cannot be performed using regular expressions.
Whether an email address is real, it's going to have no idea.
Yes, that one. Yeah, click
Thanks.
that. And continue. Okay, cool. Hit try it yourself. Delete that and paste in. Yeah, there. But now change it from result, change that to A and hit print. Or sorry, run. So as you see, what it's doing is because you called the print method. So since we have a string, so like I said, they never taught you about string, which is kind of messed up because they literally said, we're not going to teach you about string. And, and then they used it in the example, which is maddening. But anyway, and you can see like with the string, it just means like, okay, when I'm called, when you call and you want to print this class, how should we handle it? Well, the way we're going to handle it is we're going to give you self.name and capacity and the L with the brackets and everything, right? So that's what it's saying to do when you try and print it, right?
Mhm.
The reason yours worked is because what you're doing is you're making result. See how on line 12 it says juice is
Right, the original class
the
name.
name and capacity, right?
Mhm.
So by doing that, you're creating a new instance of juice. So it's almost like saying, go to line 16 and do C equals and then juice, and then just say OA for orange and apple, and then and just put 3.5, right? In this in the no no in the well actually yeah, because you do need the capacity. Okay, so yeah, do comma 3.5. And then go ahead and change the to C. No, just to C. So it's the same as it is creating a new instance, right, of orange and apple, because right there you combine the name, right, orange, and you add the and the apple on line 10, right, and you're making that the name. So it's just like having a new instance of it with that being the name, and then right there on line 11 you combined the capacities, right? So you saved the capacities. So then
So that's what it's supposed to do, right? It's supposed to add these capacities together and then,
right.
okay.
Yeah. So does that make sense now? You see that it creates a new instance of it, and it's just adding those names in there.
Yeah, it does.
And then, yeah, and then, like I said, anytime you call the print method, well, that's what it knows to do, is to give you that output. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just like doing it my way because,
Yours is cleaner.
yeah, it's less code, but I don't know. I do things on these the way I would do it in real life. And so, but either way works. Your guys' way is good because it's incorporating more stuff. Did anybody else do it a different way? I can't think of any.
I did, but I'm ready to move on. We can move forward.
Well, you're ready. I'm not ready. So let's do that screen share, Tim.
All right. All right. This pretty much all this was here already,
Yeah.
as far as I remember. So I added the def add to the self other, return the juice, and then you got to create the self other again. But I did the self name like you did with the and the single quotes, not the double quotes, with the plus other dot name, the comma. This is where you added the parentheses to include self capacity dot other dot capacity plus other dot capacity.
Good.
And I was able to print that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great other example, very clean and to the point. So like instead of like Tim and Mike, how they added them together on different lines, right? And then called them in there. You just combined them right there all on one line. So
Yeah.
it's good. Good stuff.
All right.
All right. Well, moving along. Well, it is 3.
I
So,
tried to copy yours, but I didn't get it right.
oh, okay. You want to do screen share? And then tomorrow we'll start regular expressions. Right from the beginning. That'll be good. So this is a good place to end. Okay. Uh, okay, you got. You didn't put two, so on line 7 after the def, and then you put 1 underscore, but it needs to be 2 underscores before add on line 7. And then 2 underscores after add. And then add a space between def and the first underscore. No, between no, leave that one. So yeah, but between def and the underscore, add a space between def, def. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and now hit run. So you just need to add so where you have the L on line 8 at the very end, just add a parentheses there, the closing parentheses.
For L,
Yeah, after the L. Well, in the quotes though, after the L, but
Oh,
in the quotes. That way it print, see how yours is missing. Oh wait, and you just did string capacity. Okay, so you also are gonna need so in where you've stringed the self and capacity. So click in like right after capacity, but inside the parentheses. Okay, and then add plus other dot capacity.
plus and
Other dot capacity. Okay, now hit run.
that's fine.
Oh no, that's good there. Yeah, just hit run. And there you go.
Oh,
All right.
imagine.
Good stuff. All right, I am going to log out and then I will log back in. Oh, actually, I wanted to go over I'm trying to decide. Okay, I'm gonna leave it recording for a minute. But work on your resume projects and then I'll be right back to y'all. So I'm gonna interrupt you in a few minutes. So just be prepared for that. Okay. So let's go ahead and go over what we were talking about. Jacob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, because you were asking about this earlier, so I just want to make sure you were here. So yes, you can combine them. But what you have to do is you have to initialize each one separately. So normally you could initialize it by doing like super, right? But in this case, we have two super elements, right? So instead, when you initialize it, you call it by the actual name and then call the other one by the actual name. And when you're collecting all your initial stuff, right? You um you don't just collect, so you collect everything you're going to need for all your classes. You put it here, and then when you do your whatever dot init to initialize it, and you pass in or you're passing into the init. So it's initialized just by simply by creating it, right? But to be able to, or by creating this and having it passed in, it's initialized, but you need to be able to add to the init, because if you just do, okay, so like if this had, here, watch. Well, I'll explain this, then I'll show you another example. So by passing into the init, the like origin and skin tone, right? It's passing into this init for race, origin, and skin tone. For magic characteristics, it's passing in mana, fire, resistant, XP, health, and arms, right? But then it's only using mana and fire resistant, and then continuing to pass along by doing the init of the base character stuff, up to here, right? So anytime you want to initialize other classes that you're passing in, that's what you would do. If you have multiple initializations for it, you have to call the initializations there. But now, so like now when we run, wizards, and we pass all this stuff in, right? And like now that we've initialized it, it'll tell us, right? So it's not wanting to tell me. Did before. Here, watch. I'll show you an example right here. This equals wizards. So now it was telling me earlier it doesn't want to show me anymore, but like, there we go. That's what it's like. It now, since we've initialized all those things, it knows, okay, we need all those things. And well, and since we passed it in right here, it's telling us, what we need and stuff, right? So before I go on to explain further, does this make sense on how to pass in the multiple different classes into one and then initialize them all?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now, does anybody else have questions on that before I move on to the next part? Nope. Okay. So now, let's say we didn't have, or so let me copy this and save it somewhere just in case anybody has any questions. Before I go start deleting stuff. Okay. But now let's say we just had one in it for like basic characteristics, right? And these were all something different. So like, let's change this to death. Do So like we don't have any inits, right? Return. I don't know. Race is just death. Case. It's creating like basic function, right? So we can get rid of that, and let's say wizards is just def one magic.
What?
Yeah,
Someone's unmuted. Okay, they're muted now. Okay, so now so all we're passing in is magic, char, and race, right? Because these all have, functions they could call of their class, or methods, or whatever of their class that they could call. But there's still an init up here. So now when we go to create wizards, and we want to know what to pass in, see, it's telling us, okay, pass in XP, health, and arms, even though that's way up here, and we didn't do any of that initializing, right? That's because it says, okay, this is the first place in everything that's passed in that there's an init. So I know I need that stuff from there. But if wizards or magic char had an init, then it wouldn't, then it would stop there unless you do what I showed you over here, where you pass it in, where you call it and pass it. And you could do super if you only had one. Like, let's say we didn't have, let's just say we're just passing in basic char, and we do have an init here. Power. Well, we need to do XP. Oh, oops. Self power equals power. But since we only have one super, we could do super. And then pass in our super. Hold on, we need to do super dot init and pass in XP health and and cell. Always got to pass cell. And then this way we could do, okay, so power 1, XP 2, 3, 4. Well, and see, it's telling us here exactly, okay, so power, XP, health and arms, because we passed in the super in it. But with 2, and I think that's where I was getting confused before, was because you can't have more than one, because then you don't have a super. But if you call it by name, it'll get rid of that issue with having a super. So does that answer your question, Jacob? Did you have any
Yeah.
questions about that? How to do any of this or anything?
No, I'm gonna have to go through it more and play with it like what you were doing. And no, that actually that answers exactly what I was trying to figure out.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, good stuff. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, sorry about that. When I had to leave and I rejoined the meeting, but I'm driving right now. So,
Oh,
but
no worries.
I presume what it was, the code that you want us to copy and paste into our Visual Studio, that's what you were just going over for the game.
No, I was just going over Adam or not Adam, Jacob's question from earlier about passing in multiple super classes into a class, and I was just showing him how you would go about that.
Oh, okay, I got that. And it's all recorded, so I can just go back and okay. All right, good to go.
All right. All right. Well, it's 10 minutes early, but it's about that time. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap up? If you do, feel free to ask. Don't feel bad. I can dismiss everybody else and answer your question.
Real quick question. I did copy and paste the game into the main.py, and I'm getting a whole bunch of ... I'm assuming because when I copy and paste it, it did spaces instead of tabs. Is that what's going on?
I don't know. Well, everybody else, you guys are good to go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. And then Jacob, did you want to do screen share?
I did have one other question about the project. When do we need to have the project completed by?
I mean, ideally, you would have it done by the time we're done with C# because then you're going to be moving on to other projects. But
Okay,
if you don't, so that's ideally so that you can focus all your time on that. But if you don't, then as long as you can devote extra time to your project on your own in your free time, and then just work on the projects we're working on during class, then that would work too.
okay. All right, so by C#. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Okay.
Okay, so
Let's paste this. Let's not paste this into here. Let's paste this into a regular Python file.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and just copy all this.
Okay, so it starts right. I put hashtag just to kind of, because there was one that they kind of repeated themselves, which is I think 2 and 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
2 and 4, which is why I did the whole hashtag to kind of be able
Yeah,
to set
yeah.
where they, okay, copy.
Yeah, so copy that and then go to your search bar at the very bottom and just type idle, IDLE, and it'll give you Python idle. There you go. Choose that.
Actually, I think I have that saved on my taskbar down here.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it pops up on my other screen. Hold on.
Oh, could you drag it over here?
Yeah.
Okay, and do file, new file.
File, new file.
Oh, no. Like click on the file in the upper left.
Oh, yes. File, new file. Right, that one over.
Right. And now paste it here. And now do control or F5 to run, and then you're gonna have to save it, but that's okay. And just I don't know, call it game or something. That's all. Yeah, probably save it in your Jacob folder instead. Because you're in your Windows 32.
Yeah, that's, I would want to put it in my Jacob anyways, so it.
Probably your documents, maybe, or not document. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
documents.
downloads
Would be
just
fine.
for easy.
Doesn't really matter.
Here, I'll just put it in downloads.
There you go. Okay. Now it wants you to do stuff. So like, I don't know.
Let's see here. What was one of the commands? It was I think it was observe. No, hold on. Let's shrink that up. It was, of course, it's not going to let me scroll all the way down. Here we go. Examine.
Okay, try examine.
Copy, examine goblins. Try examine goblin. So where did the other one go?
You just gotta minimize your thing because you're covering it up. Oh, there you go.
Paste.
Try just examine. Okay, try a goblin. Uh, try.
Do we need
Let's actually look at the. Let me look at the code and see what it's supposed to be doing.
do we need to get rid of the repeat? Because remember it was 2 and 4.
Oh wait, scroll up because it looks like you're missing some tabs. Yeah, you need to tab your um.
The def.
You're in it. You're def in it and def get. Well, hold on. Let me look. Oh wait, hold on. Well, we'll just leave it recording. Who cares? Okay, hold on. Give me one sec.
The def over here is not, well, that's the def get input.
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me see what's tabbed. Yeah, so your def init and your def get descent should be tabbed over.
Does that mean I need to tab these
Tab
two?
everything under them, yeah.
Oh, that didn't work. Let's do tab.
Okay, and then tab the next line.
To be,
Yeah,
they have spaces in here. There we go. Tab.
there you go. Okay. Now,
Wouldn't it be the def examine as well? If and else, or
that's tabbed. That's tabbed over. That's good. Okay, now try rerunning the game.
it's file save, right?
Well, if you just do file run, it'll prompt you to save or run. So like F5.
Module.
Yeah, it'll prompt you to run. Okay. So try, yeah. Try Gobbly.
And that's capitalized. Huh.
I've never tried this game.
I wish they gave a little bit of instructions with it,
Yeah.
other than copy paste and see how it works.
Hold on, let me try pasting it. I'm gonna paste it into a Python file on my computer and see what's what. You can keep playing around with it while I do this. Don't feel like you need to just sit there.
Why would it be repeating itself though? 4 and 3. Sorry, 2 and oh, okay, so it's not repeating itself. Two's passing on to 4. Okay. That part worked. Okay, so examine isn't passed in correctly because I went through and said, say hi, and it says you said hi.
Yeah, it's doing that on mine too. I'm still playing around with it to see what's what.
So when they said pass
And
verb dick, the say hi, and examine, it allows me to say stuff, but it won't allow me to examine. So the properties for examine isn't working properly.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. I'm trying to play around with it. Hmm. Hmm. Like this is built wrong. Oh, there's two verb dicks. You gotta delete the other verb dick. And then you gotta move the other verb dick up to the top.
So you have to copy the initial verb dict
Um,
for number 3.
so okay, so yeah, so that one, number 3, cut that and move it to the top.
Over here.
Yeah, get rid of that verb dick.
It's literally just replacing it.
Yeah. Now try running it.
User Jacob download game pi line 22 and module examine name error. Examine is not defined.
Well, you gotta move it below examine.
So it has to be,
Well, it's gotta be below examine, but it's gotta be above. So move your examine up to the top. So say an examiner on top because order matters. And like it can't, if you haven't defined something, it can't reference it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like you have to define it first and then.
Well, it's just like the say. And the previous one. Where else would it be? Let's see here. Oh, probably there's,
Now it's saying game objects not defined. So you gotta move that. Like this thing's a pain.
okay, line 22. In module, examine. Name error. Name examine is not defined.
Yeah, you gotta move that above.
Above say,
Yeah.
oh, that's kind of weird. Cut. Okay.
Okay. So now it's saying there's no goblin here on mine.
Oh, I'm still having problems with the
Oh yeah,
exam.
you need to examine above your verb dick. So
Up here.
here, let me I'll show, I'm gonna share screen real quick. One sec. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
See how I moved examine to the top and then you know, say above and the verb dick's down here. Then our while get input while true get input is down here. And actually we can probably move goblin and stuff up here too.
So did they just make this whole thing to kind of ease and peck, or
What was that?
I guess because the way they have it set up, I mean, they were making it sound like all you had to do is pretty much copy and paste it, but there's a lot more involved than
Yeah, they
just a simple copy paste to see what their program looks like.
right, it's all screwed up. So all right, let's see what else. So I think we actually need to add to the verb dick. Well, maybe not. Okay, let's try. Well, let's just try goblin. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I think we have to add it to the verb dick. I don't know. I would just build your own game and not play with their.
Oh yeah. No, it's just it was right there, and it was like, okay, well, if there's an example right here to see how everything works, that'd be great. Let's play with it.
But it's not.
But
Yeah.
if it's broken, it's broken.
Yeah. I mean, you can fix it, but it's like, to what end? Like, it's just wasting your time.
Well, like you said, at that point, you might as well start creating your own.
Yeah.
Because they really aren't that far into it.
No.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
you're welcome. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.
You too. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.